hot as balls. Alright guys, let's get into it. We're all summoned here because we all want to hear about the Disneyland scary stories. If you did not know by now, your girl worked for Disneyland, Disney's California Adventure to be precise, for about 4 years, okay? During the course of those 4 years, I encountered some stories about paranormal activities happening around that park. Let's start with the attraction that started my entire Disney career, Crown Jewel Theater.
It used to be the Muppets Theater, but then it became Crown Jewel Theater because of, you know, the Frozen movie, and what happened in there was just sing-alongs. It was sing-alongs to the Frozen songs.
It started off like this. Way back when Disney's California Adventure barely even existed, that part, that area, was the parking lot for Disneyland. And within that parking lot, there was trams going around, you know, doing the usual, picking up guests and taking them to the front of the park. So one day, a little girl hit by the tram. This is a little girl, right? This is a tram. It's just... and got dragged for a bit before the tram driver noticed there was a little girl stuck to the front of the bumper of the tram. Which is a bit hard to believe, because I mean, if you're gonna hit a person, you're most likely not only going to hear the smack, but you're gonna feel the smack, okay? Because of this, obviously the little girl died, and it's said that her spirit is roaming around the area of, you know, where she got dragged, and that area seems to be the area where they constructed Crown Jewel Theater. So to give you more a visual of how I was like when I started working there, more like how I am still now, okay? Your girl's a very, very big scaredy cat. So every time I heard some kind of paranormal story, I would freak out. You know what? You can't pay me enough to be friends with Casper. I don't do it. I just no, I won't do it. But then again, it made it 10 times more interesting to come to work, because, you know, knowing that, ooh, you might encounter Casper, you might encounter a ghost, you might encounter something, made it a little more interesting. Now, I don't want to say I do believe in ghosts. I don't want to say I don't believe in ghosts, because quite frankly, I just don't want anything that has to do with ghosts, because I'm pretty sure I might have a heart attack and shit myself and die, because I'm not the one. I don't mess with those things. I'm not trying to be anything close to, you know, attached to those things, so I rather not. Yet here I am making the scary story video. So anyway, one day, one of the cast members that worked Crown Jewel Theater posted in the Facebook page,
which, if you don't know, each attraction has a Facebook page, you know, with all the cast members in there, and it's private, so we can all give away our ships, etc.
And so it was a picture of what seemed to be the theater we all worked in. Okay, it was just empty. And at first we're like,
okay, what's going on? Like, what? I guess it's a nice picture, but okay.
The caption is like, look closer. So we're like trying to look closer, you know? It's pretty intriguing at this point, like what you're trying to show us. So we're looking, right? We're looking and we're looking until we see a little girl, okay, sitting in one of the seats. When I tell you I got the chills, that's an understatement, okay? I'm telling you, I'm a scaredy cat. When I saw that, I didn't want to go back to work. I don't want to go back to work. Because one of those positions that we have as cast members is staying inside of the theater alone. And you can imagine, after seeing that and having that position of just sitting in the theater alone, you know, it's kind of like a position that we have to have in order to keep guard that nobody's gonna come back inside the theater when the show is over. I was literally like this. That was me. I was scared shitless. And you know what? Some may say, okay,
maybe this little girl just exited the theater, and when nobody was looking, she made her way back into the theater, like she snuck back.
I would love to believe that, but the thing about that is those doors are very, very heavy, because they're automatic doors. So if you're gonna pull them, it's gonna take you a while. And there's 2 doors, so let me try to give you a quick visual. I'm 5'2" and weigh about 110, something like that. Last time I checked, it was difficult for me to pull these doors. Let's not say a little girl. These 2 are the doors, right? This is the outside of the theater. This is the inside of the theater. In the middle, it's just an extra space so the doors can like open, right? So in order to get inside, you have to pull this door get inside, let it close, and this one then you're gonna have to pull it inward so you can go outside. Okay, it's a workout. So the possibility of a girl doing that without us noticing is going to be, it's hard to believe. I mean, not saying it's impossible, but it's a little difficult to believe. Or maybe you're asking yourself, what if
everybody left the theater and she somehow decided she just wanted to stay sitting in that seat, and everybody left and the mom forgot to check that she wasn't with her and left her there for some reason.
Again, it's difficult to believe that a mom would not look at her child, grab her, and leave with her. It's just, so what? You're gonna tell me
it's over?
Because I don't think so. And also, in that theater, there's 2 cast members in the front of the theater, and there's 2 cast members in the back. So when the show ends, we make sure everybody gets up and leaves. And once everybody is out, 2 of those cast members go row by row, check every seat to make sure that nobody left something behind, just to check for lost and found. And that's part of the routine. That's something we have to do. So there is no way we were gonna go row to row, check every seat for lost and found, and not notice like a 7-year-old girl just sitting there. There's no way. But you know what? I'm just gonna stick with that story because honestly, I'd rather believe that than that there's an actual ghost in the theater. Going on to the second attraction that I learned working there. I learned Soarin' Over California, now known as Soarin' Around the World. Now, the haunting of this attraction was called the Ghost of B-Side. When you enter Soarin' Around the World, you see the whole queue, and you're walking down to where the cast member is in the podium. When you look to your left side, that is the A side. But when you look to the right side, that is called the B side. B side is where the ghost roams around, hence the name. I mean, come on. So one of the positions of our rotations is a location inside of the theater, all the way in the darkest corner of this theater. Okay, that position is called the tower position. Because of its location, it is believed that the ghost likes to mess with cast members there, only because, again, it's right in the corner of a very, very dark theater, and it's usually only one cast member there. And I mean, not usually, it always is one cast member per 30 minutes. Now, during this rotation, the cast member's just sitting there, watching the monitors. Meanwhile, the guests are up in the air in the hangars, flying, kicking, swinging their feet, and doing what they need to do. Your job as a cast member is just keep watch on them, okay? You watch the monitors and everything, but you're alone all the way down. They're like 60 feet up high. If you yell, if you scream, they won't hear you. It is said that while you're in there, you usually see in the monitors a dark figure on the other side of the theater, okay? And also it is said that you sometimes hear laughter or like clapping, and you would like to think it's people in the hangar. I mean, that's what I'd like to think. But the creepy thing is that it most likely came from the basement. Now, the basement is an area behind the cast member, like cast members right here, the monitors right here, and behind the cast members, there's a stairway going down that leads you to the back side, or like behind the scenes of the screen of Soarin' Around the World. So down there is where you usually hear the clap or the laugh. I never had the balls to even look back there because I'm not messing with that. I'm just here to look at the monitors, make sure nobody's falling from the hangar, and that's it. Once those 30 minutes were up, I was out. Okay? I wasn't gonna check the monitors to see whether or not there was actually a shadow, okay, at the other side, because I'm not messing with that. Now, one of the things that I've noticed when working there was that apparently every single attraction had some type of haunting going on. And that made me think, like, are y'all really sure this is haunted? Are you sure you're just not paranoid? This next attraction is kind of more believable for it to be haunted because, you'll know why. I got the opportunity to work at the Tower of Terror, now known as Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. The Tower of Terror, it already has an eerie feeling to it. The story behind it, it's very creepy, okay? So to have a ghost there, it makes it far more interesting. I mean, come on, it's called the Tower of Terror. Now, this ghost apparently only roamed in one section of the building, okay? So there's 3 shafts that control the elevators. There's A shaft right there, there's B shaft right in the middle, and then there's C shaft, which is the Charlie shaft. That's where the ghost usually hung out or usually appeared. Now, this story came from one of my leads, and me personally, when it comes from someone that I know, it makes it 10 times scarier than hearing it of, oh, he said, she said kind of story, right? So back then, my lead was closing the attraction. It was already time to go home, and before we all left and dipped out. She was going up the stairs to the upper level of Charlie's shaft when she says that she saw a guest giving her his back, and he was just looking towards the wall. She asked if he was okay and, you know, if she could get him anything because it was closing time and he needed to leave. Later on, she notices the dude doesn't have any feet. The dude was floating. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. The dude was floating. When she saw that, she was like, nope. Boop. Ran down those stairs. She was like, I don't fucks with this. Pretty smart lady, if you ask me. And now it's time to head down to Bugs Land. Now, Bugs Land is the mother of haunted things, okay? When you ask someone about haunted attractions, you will most likely get Bugs Land, the Bugs Land Theater, the Bugs Land Bathroom, just Bugs Land in general. Now it's known as Marvel Land, but I don't know if the ghosts will like that very much, but we will find out. We'll see. There's so many stories that I've heard about Bugs Land. These stories have come from custodial cast members, from what is it? Custodial cast members, from security guards. Anybody that works basically third shift has given me all of these stories. One day I met this custodial cast member, and you know, just because I'm nosy, I like to ask, have you encountered any ghost stories? Even though, you know,
I don't think it's a good idea to tell me all of these stories because it will stay in my head and I will most likely not fall asleep, but you know, whatever, it is what it is.
So one day I met this custodial cast member. I asked her if she had any experiences, and she told me how this one time during late hours, she and another custodial cast member were cleaning the bathrooms in Bugs Land. Okay, at first she said she had heard stories, but she didn't really encounter anything. What had happened was she and her other friend were cleaning around the bathroom, and the doors from each stall just started slamming. She didn't want to think too much of it, even though, I mean, come on, it is creepy. She's just like, I just need to finish cleaning this and I'm gonna get out, you know, I'm gonna dip out. She started hearing laughter, little girl laughter. She was like, please let it be the other custodial cast member on the other side of this bathroom that's laughing. But no, the other custodial cast member just popped out her head and was like, was that you? And that's when she knew the other cast member had heard it too. Next thing you know, the paper towels started flying out of the dispenser. And she's like, oh my God, like, it ain't it. It ain't it. And she left. I don't know if she left the other custodial cast member there, but I mean, at that point it's like, hey, haha, bye. Rumor says it's a little girl in a white dress around the age of 7, I think they said. So from what I'm thinking, I'm putting 2 and 2 together, but then again, I'm not the best at math. Perhaps it can be the same little girl that I was telling you guys about earlier that was dragged, you know. So I'm assuming she maybe really likes Bugs Land and maybe likes, you know, the Crown Jewel Theater, and she likes to fuck around with people. Now this next cast member that I'm about to talk about, everybody that has worked Bugs Land knows who he is. He's a medium, meaning he can talk to spirits, he can talk to ghosts, he can talk to people that are dead. I see dead people. I'm not gonna say who it is because I mean, I don't think I should, but I'm going to let y'all know about it. I've heard a lot of cast members that have worked with him that have stories that he has told them, but there's one specific story that stuck with me because I was working a World of Color shift with another cast member, and he was telling me how he had the opportunity to work with the cast member that can see the ghosts. Okay, he says that once he was working with this person during the Tough to Be a Bug show, and that the cast member comes up to him. Let's name this cast member Louis, right? So Louis is the one that can see the ghosts. So Louis comes up to this cast member and was like,
okay, so I don't want you to freak out, but there is a ghost right over there. He is an older gentleman holding what seems to be very old luggage.
I don't want you to freak out is basically telling me you're gonna freak out. The cast member said he was left speechless. I mean, he looked over, he didn't see anything, but I mean, it's enough to freak me out. If he saw it, if Louis saw it, it was enough for him to believe it. And now let's head down to Disneyland, okay? Disneyland. And we're heading over to the Haunted Mansion. And some of you might say, well, of course, it's the Haunted Mansion. Of course it's going to be haunted.
You know what? It's not supposed to be haunted. It's actually not supposed to be haunted. It's supposed to be the theme. But y'all want to go to the Haunted Mansion and spread your loved one's ashes all around.
I mean, no, yes, it's going to be haunted now. I remember very clearly that a couple of years ago, the cast members had an opportunity to have a private walkthrough, like right after park closure. We had the opportunity to go over to the Haunted Mansion and see all behind the scenes. But a group of my friends and I showed up, see all of us being cast members, and we were taken groups by groups through the tour. The group that I was in was brought to the backstage door, and we were waiting in the waiting room to go inside the first scene of the Haunted Mansion. As we were waiting, we see what seemed to be, I don't know, maybe they were custodial cast members. They were just dressed differently. And it was like 5 grown men just walked inside with what seemed to be leaf blowers. And the tour guide, the cast member tour guide, just looks at us and was like, that's an everyday thing. I see these dudes sucking up what seemed to be like dirt, but it was inside of the ride. I think it was like where Madame Leota was, the doom bug, like around there. And at first I didn't really get it, until I saw that the dudes were actually sucking up ashes, okay? I was seeing somebody's family member getting sucked up. I was like, damn, rest in peace, Jimmy. Ashes were being sucked up by some guy in a jumpsuit named Jake with a ash sucker that looked like a leaf blower, okay? And I just stood there like, damn, so this does happen. And I know Disneyland has a big part on some of y'all's hearts. I mean, this is coming from a Disney fan, okay? But just keep in mind that if you're going to spread the ashes of your loved ones, 99.9% every single ash is gonna get sucked up by a dude in a jumpsuit named Jake. Shit, that's one way to go. So during this tour, I'm not gonna lie, it was very cool. I mean, right after seeing that, I was pretty pumped. So we walked around the whole attraction. The doom buggies were like not even working. I mean, obviously they were all still. We walked by Madame Leota just glowing there, and all the animatronics were just frozen. It was very creepy, but at the same time it was pretty cool. I mean, I was just waiting for something to touch me, because I'm like, this should for sure as hell, this is haunted, but you know what, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, at the end of the tour, we ended up in the control room, which is a monitored room. There's monitors everywhere. That thing was huge. For the tour guide cast member starting telling us a little bit of how it works, okay? How you need 2 cast members to watch the monitors, and after they close the attraction, one of the cast members has to do a walkthrough to check, that everything's okay, I guess, to find lost and found and make sure nobody's hiding. A typical cast member thing. And then she goes into story mode, and she proceeds to tell us how one day 2 cast members were sitting on the console doing their closing checklist while another cast member was doing the run on the ride. Now during this run through, they keep an eye on the monitors to kind of keep track of the cast member that's doing the run through. Now let's name that cast member Leafy. I don't know, I just saw Leaf. Leafy was doing his thing. He was just walking around, right? And then the 2 cast members said that they just saw him stop a couple of feet in front of the 3 hitchhiking ghosts, and he was just like, now keep in mind that you can see everything during those monitors. We were looking at the monitors themselves, and you can see every single angle. So when Leafy came back, one of the other cast members asks him, it took you a while there, like, well, what happened? And Leafy was just like, oh, I was just talking to the maintenance guy. And they were like, what maintenance guy?
The maintenance guy, the one that right in front of the hitchhiking ghost, he had like a The maintenance guy, the one that's... He was wearing the jumpsuit. The blue jumpsuit.
For all you know, this dude was talking to Michael Myers, talking about the dude with the blue jumpsuit. Two cast members knew that there was nobody there. They saw that there was nobody there. And you know what? Leafy basically knew he fucked up because these cast members were looking at him like... Oh, also, if you want to see a very creepy video, head on over to Google and write like the Disneyland ghost, and it's the first video that pops up. It's a very, very famous because the people say that it's Walt Disney's ghost, and it's just a very creepy video because the ghost comes out of the haunted mansion. And now, leaving the best for last, the scariest story that shook me. We're heading over to Tomorrowland into Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. Okay, and this happened to a grown man. Let's name this man Greg. This story was told to me by the girl that was working the monitors during this experience. So she said how one day during closing time, because apparently everything happens during closing time, her and Greg were closing the attraction. There was some monitors, because everything has monitors, okay? If you think that you're in Disneyland in the dark and you're not being watched, I can guarantee you 100% you're being watched. So she said she was at the console, there was monitors, and there was a PA system, you know, the little microphone. She says how Greg was slightly new to the attraction, and so he was doing the run through. Now about this attraction, the Buzz Lightyear boogies, I don't know what they're called, I'm just gonna call them that. They're on top of what seems to be like a heat sensor slash pressure plate. Like if a guest steps out of the boogie while it's in motion, you're gonna see it in the monitors. You're gonna see their steps and the ride's gonna shut down because it's clearly not safe. Greg was doing the run through. She can see his steps on the monitor. So when he was halfway down, she says she sees other steps. This is Greg. The other extra steps were like right here, so they were looking at each other. She says that she PAs Greg and is like,
who else is there with you?
Greg's is like,
no, there's nobody else, it's just me.
Of course, Greg freaks out because you know those guns that are in the little Buzz Lightyear boogie cars? Those started just flying out. The girl working the monitors, let's name her Cindy. She says that she could just see Greg turn around and start walking the other way. And the footsteps behind him start walking right behind them. Greg starts freaking out at this point, okay? So he starts sprinting towards the exit. The other footsteps are just right behind him. She could just see it all happening. Through the heat sensor monitors, she could just see. She says Greg didn't even look at her. He just sprinted right past her, exited through those doors, bursted out in tears, okay? A grown man bursting out in tears, I don't know about you, but that says enough. And he quit. And you know what? I don't even blame him. Smart man. I don't know why the hell Cindy stayed there. I mean, if you see this happening, maybe she was curious as to who else was there. Maybe she thought it was like a prank or something. But the girl, I would have been out there too. I would have been the first one out the door. You know what? Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't a ghost. Maybe, just maybe, it was like one of the animatronics that came to life, and he was like, you got a friend in me, come here. She said when she saw him sprinting out, she looked over to see who was the person chasing him, and she just didn't see anybody. And the footsteps just stopped before they even got to her. They just stopped. See through the monitors, there was nobody there anymore. The footsteps they just vanished. They weren't there anymore. I don't know about y'all, but you know what? That's just some things I'm not gonna stick around to see. So that's it for the Disneyland Scary Story Times, okay? Let me know if you've experienced anything, especially in Disney. I personally want to hear what attraction, what you saw, what you didn't want to see, what you wish you didn't see. Because honestly, even though I am very scared of these things, I love hearing these stories. So whatever story you got, tell me. Tell me what's good, what happened, what happened, did you shit yourself? Because I'm pretty sure I would have shit myself. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Boo, bitch. Okay, action.